And welcome to Ansarkari. Let us continue with our remaining discussion on paper 2. Now we're just left with paper 2, so we'll be finishing it quickly in two sessions because again, I don't want you to get burdened with the whole syllabus in one go. And I just want to give you a big thank you so much for your all the support that you've shown, and I would request you to please keep doing that so that we keep bringing useful content for you. Let us start, and as you know that the first slide will always be about the syllabus and the key point in the syllabus, which is about the main examination. For everyone who's again watching this, the next session, I want you to keep in mind that always look at the syllabus and keep it somewhere in front of you at all times so that you keep on going through it, because what happens is that subconsciously you're revising those key terms also, wherein you can use those key terms in the answers also. So the syllabus along with these parts, so that you don't wander off into an unknown territory and waste your time on unproductive research or anything like that. Just stick to what is being said in the syllabus and keep working on it. So let's start with paper 2. So now that we have covered paper 1, you have got a very good understanding. I'm supposing that you've understood what are the key terms, what anthropology is, and you've understood the technical part of it, the physical part of it, the socio-cultural part as well, and you have understood it from a global perspective. Now we are going to do it from an Indian perspective. So you would for one moment think that paper 1 would be very vast and paper 2 would be more specific, but it is actually the other way around. Why? Because paper 1 is actually very specific, but with paper 2, since it is about India, we have a lot of exploring to be done, a lot of materials to be read, and we have to always relate. So uh, there would very regularly be some kind of an example that comes up in the newspaper, and you can relate to it and mention it in the answers whenever you write. So the first unit is about evolution of the Indian culture. So these again, you're going across these terms: Paleolithic, Mesolithic. So you'll study about sites. These sites, the Neolithic sites in India, which are the Neolithic sites or which are the Mesolithic sites. Then the Proto-historic age, which is Indus Valley civilization. Indus Valley forms a very important part in history, even in the prelims or even in the mains. The important findings and its relevance in the coming post Harappan age, even today. So pre Harappan, post Harappan, the culture relating to it, for example, PGW or redware pottery or ochreware pottery, all of those terms, contribution of tribal cultures to Indian civilization. So when you go through this topic, you would be amazed to know what all the Indian civilization has taken from or borrowed from tribal cultures. It is actually more than what the tribal cultures have borrowed from modern societies or even contemporary societies. The next unit is on Paleolithic age. So if you remember in the paper 1, we did unit 1.5, where the phylogenetic status and all those terms like Australopithecus. So this one particularly corresponds to the findings in India. So Ramapithecus, Sivapithecus, Narmada man. Ramapithecus has been named due to Lord Ram, or Sivapithecus on Lord Shiva. And Narmada man is because of its finding in near Narmada river. So you'll be studying about the exact details about all these fossils, and you'll be able to even relate it to the what you read in paper 1. The next one is on ethnoarchaeology. So, what is ethnoarchaeology? Terms like surviving and parallels among hunting, foraging, fishing. So, again, this is going in a sequence. You read about evolution of Indian culture, then the Paleolithic age, then ethnoarchaeology. Ethnoarchaeology is the study of fossils and artifacts with respect to society. So to understand the society, those fossils and those organic, inorganic fossils and artifacts are studied. So in pastoral peasant communities, right? Next one is demographic profile. So this term demographic profile is very, you would have heard of this because you go through this mainly in the while studying census data. So ethnic and linguistic elements. So you would have studied linguistic minorities, ethnic minorities in the Indian population and their distribution, the population of India, factors influencing its structure and growth. So, the Indian population and structure and growth is very much in news due to number one because of the census 2021, and also because of the decrease in TFR, the total fertility rate, which you have would have gone through in the newspapers. So. This anyway you will go through when you will be doing the census data or in current affairs. The next unit is on structure and nature of traditional Indian social systems. So once you did the ethnoarchaeology and you studied what kind of demographic profile is there, you jump on to the structure and nature of traditional Indian systems, like traditional Indian systems like karma, rina, rebirth. You would have heard of these terms, rebirth and karma. These terms are very common in while studying history in Jainism, Buddhism, right? The next is on caste system. So the structure and characteristics of Varna and caste, theories, origin of this caste system, what are dominant castes, what is caste mobility, when a lower caste person can move into a higher caste, so that is caste mobility. Future of caste system, is it prevalent now? Okay, what is Jajmani system? You would have heard of Jajmani, Jajman. This term Jajman. You would have heard this term Jajman in some old Hindi films, wherein a person is referring to someone as Jajman. Tribe, caste, continuum. You would also find application of the theories that you read, so you can relate from paper one. What is the next unit is on sacred complex. What is sacred complex? What is nature man spirit complex? You might find these terms technical, but in reality they're not. The next one is a very generic topic: impact on for Buddhism, Jainism on Indian society. So you would anyways go through a lot of detail while studying particularly Hindu, Buddhism and Jainism. So you will just add on to your knowledge when you study this in unit 3.4, and you will add on Islam and Christianity as well. Okay, and one more thing is that when you do this in detail, you be rest assured that your questions in prelims won't be wrong. Okay, the next one is on emergence, growth, and development in India. So the contributions of 1890th and 20th century scholars. So post 1800 period of Raja Ram Mohan Roy and the corresponding next period, contribution of Indian anthropologists to tribal and caste studies. So obviously, when you're studying paper two, you need to know which are the famous anthropologists and what have their contributions been. Who excavated Harappa, or who have been who. There are news about in current affairs also about recent findings and artifacts. So you need to know who are famous Indian anthropologists. Okay, the next one is on Indian village system. So, what is the significance of village study? Okay, Indian village as a social system, traditional and changing pattern of settlement. So, pattern of settlement you would have gone through in even in science and social science NCRTs. Circular pattern or rectangular pattern. So, the kind of changing pattern settlements. Okay, uh, intercaste relations, you can map out the evolution of intercaste relations and the present context to it, both positive and negative. There are positive and negative sides to it, but you would these topics are not isolated. What I mean to say, they are constantly there is some kind of news that comes up. Agrarian relations, impact of globalization on Indian villages, like terms like reverse migration. Okay, next is linguistic and religious minorities. You would go through this part, linguistic and religious minorities, even in polity, and their social and political economic status. So economics, again, linguistic religious minorities, you will find this in census data also. Their economic status also would be there in census data. You would just go through this again. It would be a kind of revision only. The next is on indigenous and exogenous process. Terms like Sanskritization, caste mobility and Sanskritization, upward movement, downward movement, westernization, modernization, interplay of little and great traditions. What are little traditions? What are great traditions? Panchayati Raj, you go through in the newspaper, in polity, in even in history, social change, and media and social change. So the role of media in bringing social change. How has media changed the whole concept, and is it positive or negative? You get to know both sides of the story. So this is half of it. Okay, and the next half we'll cover in the next session. uh, if you've not liked and subscribed, please do so, and we'll very soon come up with the remaining part so that we can quickly bring on the previous year questions so that you get a clarity on anthropology as an optional and whether you fit into it and the subject fits into you or not. So, thank you so much for your time.